Beneath this hat is a mixture of bed hair and hat hair, the likes of which have never been seen on planet Earth before. Maybe Neptune. I can't remember. It's been about 72 years since I last visited. Hi everyone, my name is Charlie, and it is currently Monday morning. It is 20 to 8. I have arrived at work an hour and a half early simply because I could not sleep last night. This is what happens when you have insomnia. At least my version of insomnia that seems to allow me to sleep for about 2 hours just before I'm due to get up, and thus I end up waking up and dozing for about 15 minutes whilst I try and bring myself to actually leave my bed and not just phone it in today. Sometimes people have intrusive thoughts during their insomnia, you know, these things that keep going round in their head. I don't have that problem. I know that there was something going round in my head, but I can't remember what it was. It was as though part of my brain was inside some sort of dream world, and I was still very aware that I was awake. And I can remember thinking to myself, stop thinking about this, go to sleep, and just not doing it. Which isn't anything you particularly cared about, and doesn't even go so far as to explain the reason I'm wearing my hat, but just know the hat is being worn because the hair is looking exceptionally bad today, and I'm just hoping through a mixture of brushes and whatever those things are called, not particles, product, I'll eventually manage to tame it somehow. If not, I will be wearing the hat all day, looking something like a mid-90s thug crossed over with this very old... This jumper probably came from the 90s. I could be a 90s TV presenter. Maybe not. I couldn't do that. I'm too rude, apparently. No, I definitely am. Could I dial it back? Probably not. Now, on Saturday, I uploaded a Woolgathering video that was due to... that it was intended to be about 20 minutes long. I'd got footage on Monday before my camera fell out the window, and then I got footage on Saturday. And as you know, you only got 10 minutes of a video on Saturday simply because, for some reason, all the audio on the first two videos was just gone, and the audio on at the beginning of the second video was not there either, and thus we lost that. But I think you get the gist of what I was talking about in that video anyway, so you needn't worry too much about missing out. Indeed, I know that in the first clip all I discussed was whether you were enjoying the weather, whether you were indeed puddle jumpers, and the fact that some people had left some bags outside of the charity shop. Naturally, my want to ramble meant that these things went on for about 50 years, but we don't talk about that. What have I been up to since last we spoke? Well, yesterday was Sunday, and I left work the tiniest bit early on Saturday simply because of the traffic and the football. And if you know me, if you've watched previous videos, then you know that I get quite annoyed at the traffic that appears due to the football. I live exceptionally close to the football ground, as in it's not even 5 minutes away from my house. And because people come out of town and people come from town, they fill up the streets surrounding me. And I am arriving home as they're all leaving the pitch, the club, I don't know what you call it. I don't do football. And so last time they were all walking down one side of the road, so the traffic coming in the opposite direction couldn't actually move, which then impacted on my wanting to turn right into the road I use to get to my house. Now there are temporary traffic lights there as well. I mentioned all of this to my manager. She was exceptionally kind, and she let me go a bit early just so that I could beat all of that traffic. And indeed, I nearly did, but getting back into Macclesfield around those temporary traffic lights, it was just awful. Not that that's something you really care about, just letting you know. So then I got home and I had such great intentions to watch a film or YouTube, and I think, I edited the Woolgathering video on Saturday night, and I uploaded that, and then the film didn't happen. My mother arrived, we ended up making tea, everything got pushed back, I listened to some music, watched The Voice, and then Sunday, where I intended to read. And it was going well. I read The Heads of the Coloured People by Nafisa Thompson Spires, which I mentioned in my Woolgathering video. Finished it. It is a fantastic collection of short stories that I recommend that you find and you read, because, Lord, there is poignancy in these stories. There is this dark humour in there that I just adored, and the way that the writer crafts stories is something to be marvelled at. There is this simplicity there, and I believe that the stories were just quite simple, quite prosaic. They moved along well, and then they just hit you with honesty, and it was brilliant. And I adored it, and it was exceptionally modern, and it was just it was like the short stories that I was used to reading at university, but not from decades ago, from the now, and it was brilliant. And then I made breakfast or lunch. It was around 11, 12 o'clock, and I planned to read some more. I brought The Blue Salt Road by Joanna M. Harris downstairs to read, and I didn't read it. And my mother had wanted to watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2 because I'd watched it earlier in the week, and so she watched it on my Kindle until my dad left, and then we were like, let's put it on the telly. So we put it on the telly, and then naturally, because she was watching it, I ended up watching it. The writing I was doing got pushed back, but I did hit 10,000 words on the Doris novella that I mentioned, and I'm still not sure where this story's going in terms of, I have the stories, I don't have the stories planned, but I know what's going to happen in the stories, but I need to figure out how to get it there. Also, in this one story that I'm currently writing, I'm aware that there isn't much of a climax, and I want there to be something of the climactic point to say, look, this is the reason you read this story, this is the point that I was getting at. Do I ever have a point to the Doris stories? I don't know. You tell me. I always feel like they go towards the climax, and that each individual monologue has its rises and its falls, and yeah, its arc. I have this feeling, so I hope that it's there. And so after that, I ended up reading a poetry collection, had a bath, watched some Family Guy, and now we're here. Oh, I watched Parks and Recreation again. I did that. That was funny. I watched it years ago. I watched it again. Doesn't really lose its humour, although I do think that I found the first series funnier than I did when I was younger. There you go. That is the revelation for today's video, that sometimes our opinions of something can change. I'm not sure what's going to go on this week. This is both in terms of my reading and my writing and my life outside of reading and writing, because I want to finish Iliwaka by Peter Carey this week. I want to finish The Blue Salt Road, but there's also about 10 more books I had on this TBR for this month that I haven't got to. And I know that it's not possible to get to all of them this week, so I've got to pick and choose the ones that I definitely want to get to. And at the moment, that's looking like Charmcaster by Sebastian de Castell and Dragonhaven by Robin Hobb, because I want to actually finish reading the Realm of the Elderlings books this year. I started back in 2016 when Sam of Sam's Nonsense first did the Hobbalong, and I fell to the wayside with that one. I only got as far as Ship of Destiny, and then 2017 I only read Fool's Errand and The Golden Fool. Last year I only read Fool's Fate, and so I'm really hoping to actually get it done. I was hoping to do the first 2 of the Rain Wild books this month, the next 2 next month, and then stagger the 3 books of the... Is it the Fitz and the Fool trilogy? Is that the last one? I think so. And then have that done for this year. See, I have all these plans. I'm trying to get through the majority of the books on my shelves. I think if I say that to you, that's going to actually spur me on. I haven't counted them because I know that if I count them, then that will just leave me not wanting to do it and just taking more books off my shelves and bringing them to the charity shop than actually just giving myself the time to read them. So I think it's worked with Joe Nesbo, it can work with Robin Hobb, it can work with Maggie Stevar. I still have the Raven cycle, is that what it's called, on my shelves unread, and I got all of those way back when. I think that was 2016 as well. Sorry, I've just seen that a cat has arrived at work. In terms of writing, I don't know whether I will write at all this week, simply because, as aforementioned, I want to read quite a fair bit this week, and I'm not sure that will get done if I want to write. But it's just whenever the mood takes me. I could throw all of this out the window as well and decide, you know what, I just want to sit here and watch Line of Duty on Netflix. Yeah. That's another good show. And there's a new series, and I've still not watched the first 4. Watched half of 1 though, so that's clearly means that I am all knowledgeable about these shows. Anyway, I'm gonna disappear because I want coffee, and I've rambled on long enough now, and personally, I don't think that you'll get much enjoyment out of that. Or maybe you will. Maybe this is just the start of us getting to know one another a bit more, and eventually, when we're having coffee as impoverished writers later on in life, looking back on our younger days and our contemporaries, we will look back on this video and think, do you know what, Charlie? You were talking a crock of shit. Anyway, I hope you got something out of this video besides sheer boredom, and until next time, that is all.